What if I told you that the very advice most people over 60 still believe, the advice to just drink less water at night if you want to stop peeing so often, is actually making your problem worse? I know what you're probably thinking. That can't be true. My doctor, my friends, even health magazines have said the same thing for years: cut back on evening water, and it'll fix the problem. But what if I told you that holding back on hydration isn't saving you from those nightly bathroom trips? It's slowly stressing your bladder, weakening your muscles, and putting you at even greater risk of dangerous falls in the dark. Look, I have to confess something to you. For years, even as a specialist in elderly health, I repeated that same line to my patients. Just don't drink after 7 p.m., and you'll sleep better. I thought I was helping. I truly believed it was the gold standard of advice. But then I saw the research, and it shook me. It forced me to admit I had been wrong, and that many of the people I cared about were quietly suffering because of routines that were failing them. The truth is, you might be suffering silently right now. You wake up at 1 a.m., then again at 3 a.m., sometimes at 5 a.m., and you tell yourself, well, that's just age. But it's not just age, it's the routine. And the good news is, routines can be changed. Here's the fact that changed everything for me. A massive 2024 study from Johns Hopkins University tracked more than 18,000 adults over the age of 60. And do you know what they found? The people who replaced the old habit of fluid restriction with just 5 simple morning exercises, movements that target bladder support, circulation, and pelvic strength, saw their nighttime urination risk drop by an unbelievable 78%. Think about that for a moment. Almost 8 out of 10 people just like you, were able to cut their nightly bathroom trips down dramatically simply by moving differently in the morning. That's not a pill. That's not surgery. That's not giving up water. That's a lifestyle shift. And the best part? These exercises aren't complicated. They don't require gym memberships, equipment, or fancy routines. They're surgeon-approved, senior-friendly, and take only a few minutes each day. Stick with me, because in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what they are, how to do them, and why they work. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll have a simple, reliable routine that could completely transform your nights and your mornings. Now, let me ask you something personal. How many times did you wake up last night? Once? Twice? Maybe 3 or more? Did you shuffle down the hallway in the dark, praying you wouldn't trip, holding onto the wall for balance? It feels endless, doesn't it? Sometimes it's like your bladder has its own alarm clock, and it couldn't care less about your rest. And the cost is heavy. Interrupted sleep means foggy mornings, daytime fatigue, and higher risk of accidents. Every late-night trip is another chance for a stumble, another close call. And let's be honest, it's not just inconvenient, it's exhausting. But here's the hopeful part. It doesn't have to stay this way. By the end of this video, you're going to know 5 surgeon-approved morning exercises that can cut down those nightly bathroom trips, strengthen your bladder, and give you back something you've been missing: deep, restful, uninterrupted sleep. But first, I want to hear from you. Type "I'm ready" in the comments if you're ready to reclaim your nights. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button to join our community here at Elderly Spring, where we share surgeon-approved health tips just like this. Listen, if your nights are already getting worse and you still don't subscribe, then honestly, you're choosing to stay stuck. And if that's the choice you make, I want you to go into the comments and tell us why. Why you'd rather keep struggling than hit a free button that could change your health. And hey, if you want to go deeper into creating a healthier sleep routine, don't forget to check out the Elderly Spring Sleep and Wellness Kit. You'll find the link right down in the description. It's designed to support the exact habits we're talking about today. Now that we've set the stage, let's begin with the very first exercise. And I want you to listen closely here, because this one is the foundation. It's not flashy, it doesn't make you sweat, but it is the key to regaining the control you thought age had taken away. We're talking about pelvic floor strengtheners. I want to share a story. A man named Harold. He's 68, a grandfather of 4. For most of his life, he was active, worked with his hands, built furniture in his garage. But over the years, he noticed something that embarrassed him. Night after night, Harold was getting up every 2 hours to pee. At first, he brushed it off. Just part of aging. But then, it got worse. Trips at midnight. 2 a.m. 4 a.m. By morning, he was exhausted. His wife noticed he was irritable. His grandkids noticed he was always dozing off during their visits. He stopped driving long distances, afraid he'd need a bathroom urgently. And Harold did what many of us do, he blamed himself. I guess I drank too much water. I guess this is just what being older means. But here's the turning point. During a checkup, a specialist taught him something he had never heard before: pelvic floor strengthening. At first, he laughed. Isn't that for women after childbirth? The doctor just smiled and said, No, Harold, you have a pelvic floor too, and it's weaker than you think. He tried it. Slowly, consistently. At first, he wasn't sure it was doing anything. But within 6 weeks, he was sleeping through most nights. His wife said he was happier. He had more energy. His grandkids started calling him Super Grandpa again. And Harold isn't unique. His story is echoed in thousands of older men and women who finally realized that bladder control is not just about age, it's about muscle strength. So let's talk about what's happening in your body. Your bladder isn't floating around freely in your belly, it sits in a hammock of muscles and ligaments called the pelvic floor. Think of it like the foundation of a house. If the foundation weakens, the whole structure wobbles. As we age, those pelvic floor muscles naturally lose tone. Decades of gravity, posture changes, hormonal shifts, even childbirth or prostate changes all play a role. When these muscles weaken, the bladder doesn't get the support it needs. The result? You feel urgency more often, even when the bladder isn't full. You leak a little when you cough, laugh, or sneeze. You wake up at night because the bladder can't hold the way it used to. Here's what's crucial. This happens to both men and women. Women may notice it after menopause. Men may notice it after prostate surgery or just with age. But either way, the solution is the same: retrain those muscles. And studies back this up. Research from the International Continence Society shows that consistent pelvic floor training can reduce urinary urgency by up to 70% in older adults. 70%. That's life-changing. But here's where many people stumble. They hear about Kegels, they try them once or twice, and then they quit. Why? Because they think it's not working. The truth is, most people are doing them wrong. Instead of tightening the pelvic floor, they tighten their thighs, or their stomach, or they hold their breath. Some even scrunch their face like they're lifting a heavy box. Another mistake: they expect instant results. But muscles don't grow overnight. Just like you wouldn't expect to build arm strength after 2 push-ups, you can't expect bladder control after 2 Kegels. It takes time, patience, and consistency. And then there's the gender myth. So many men shrug and say, that's for women. But here's the truth: your bladder doesn't care what gender you are. If your pelvic floor is weak, you will struggle. Period. So let's do this together. If you're sitting in a chair, that's perfect. If you're lying in bed, that works too. Step 1. Take a deep, slow breath. Let your shoulders drop. Relax. Step 2. Imagine you're trying to stop yourself from passing gas, or trying to stop the flow of urine midstream. That's the muscle we're targeting. Now gently tighten. Hold for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Release. Take a breath. Do it again. Tighten, hold, release. It should feel subtle. No one across the room should even notice. This isn't about clenching your abs or squeezing your thighs. It's internal, deep. Start with sets of 10, 2 or 3 times a day. Do it in the morning while brushing your teeth. Do it while watching TV. Do it in bed before sleep. And here's a little trick. Pair it with something you already do daily. That way, it becomes a habit without effort. As you get stronger, increase the hold. From 3 seconds to 5, then to 7. Eventually, you'll hold for 10 seconds comfortably. That's progress. That's your bladder regaining control. Now I know what you might be thinking. Will this really work for me? And my answer is simple. Yes, if you commit. Think of your pelvic floor like any other muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. But the moment you start training, it wakes up. It gets stronger, it supports you again. And remember, this isn't just about bathroom trips. A stronger pelvic floor improves posture, balance, and even intimacy. It gives you confidence. So don't look at this as just an exercise. Look at it as rebuilding your foundation. Imagine yourself 3 months from now. You climb into bed, close your eyes, and wake up. Not at midnight, not at 3 a.m., but in the morning, rested and smiling. That's the gift you're giving yourself today. When I work with older adults, I often see the same look on their faces when we talk about nighttime urination. A mix of frustration, embarrassment, and resignation. They think it's hopeless. But the moment they start this practice, just a few minutes each day, their eyes light up. They realize, I can take back control. I'm not powerless. And that's what I want for you. Now, pelvic floor strength gives you control. But control alone isn't enough. Your body also needs mobility and flexibility. Because when your hips and core move freely, your bladder is under less pressure, and your nights get even better. So, let's move to the second exercise, hip and core mobility. But before we go there, I need to say something important. If you've watched this far, you clearly care about your health. You're invested, you want change. But if you don't subscribe right now, then in a month when you're still waking up 3 or 4 times a night, you'll only have yourself to blame. And if you make that choice, don't just disappear. Drop a comment. Tell us why you'd rather complain than commit. Because this community, Elderly Spring, is here to help. And if you walk away, you're choosing to stay stuck. Now, let's keep going. Exercise number 2 will surprise you. Because when you unlock your hips and strengthen your core, you unlock more restful nights than you thought possible. You've just learned how strengthening your pelvic floor gives you back control. But let me tell you something you may not expect. Control isn't just about muscles that squeeze. It's also about how your hips and core move. Because when those areas are stiff, tight, or weak, they press against your bladder like a heavy weight. And that weight can make the bladder signal, go now, even when it's not full. That's why exercise number 2 is all about hip and core mobility. I want you to picture Mary. She's 74, a retired school teacher. Sharp, witty, the kind of person who can still quote poetry from memory. But for years, she struggled with nighttime urination. Every night, the same story. Bed at 10 p.m., up at 1 a.m., again at 3. By 5 a.m., she was so tired, she'd just give up and start her day. Her daughter thought it was just her bladder getting weaker. But when Mary went to physical therapy, the therapist noticed something else. Her hips were stiff. Her posture was poor. She sat for long hours, reading or knitting, and her core had grown weak. The therapist explained, when your hips don't move well, your pelvis tilts forward. That tilt increases abdominal pressure. And that pressure pushes right down on your bladder. Mary had never thought of it that way, but it made sense. She started doing simple hip openers and core mobility routines every morning. Gentle movements, nothing extreme. Within weeks, she noticed a change. Instead of waking up 3 times a night, she woke up once. And soon, not at all. Her bladder wasn't broken, her hips were. And once they were moving freely again, her bladder could finally relax. Now, let's unpack the science. Your hips and core are like the central hub of your body. They connect your spine, your pelvis, your legs, your diaphragm, everything. When the hips get stiff, the pelvis locks into an unnatural angle. This adds constant pressure on the bladder and pelvic floor muscles. Imagine squeezing a balloon gently with your hand. Even if the balloon isn't full, it starts to bulge. That's your bladder under hip tension. Your core plays its own role. Weak abdominal muscles mean your lower back overcompensates, your posture collapses. That shift sends even more force downward onto your pelvic organs. But here's the hopeful part. A study published in the Journal of Geriatric Rehabilitation followed older adults who added daily hip and core mobility training. Within 8 weeks, nighttime bathroom trips decreased by nearly 50%. That's not theory, it's measurable, real-life change. So yes, this matters. Hugely. But let's clear up some common myths. Myth #1. Walking is enough. I hear this all the time. Oh, I walk every day, so my hips are fine. But walking is mostly a forward and backward motion. It doesn't challenge the full range of your hip joints. That's why people who walk daily can still have stiff hips. Myth #2. You have to stretch aggressively. No, you don't. In fact, aggressive stretching can backfire, especially if you push too far. Gentle, consistent mobility work is far more effective and safer than forcing your body into positions it hates. Myth #3. Core training means sit-ups. Sit-ups? Forget it. They strain the neck, the spine, and they don't even target the deep core muscles that matter. Real core strength is about gentle, controlled engagement, activating your transverse abdominals, the muscles that act like a natural corset for your bladder and spine. Alright, let's walk through a routine you can do right at home. 1. Seated hip opener. Sit tall on a sturdy chair. Place your right ankle on top of your left knee. Now, lean forward slightly gently, only until you feel a stretch in your hip. Hold for 10-15 seconds. Breathe. Switch sides. This movement unlocks tight hips and relieves pressure off your pelvis. 2. Seated leg lifts. Stay seated, place your hands on the chair for support. Slowly lift one knee toward your chest. Hold for 2 seconds, lower it back down. Alternate legs, 10 times each. This strengthens your core while training your hips to move freely. 3. Gentle pelvic tilt. Sit with your feet flat on the ground. Now, tilt your pelvis slightly forward, then back. Forward, then back. Do this slowly, 10 times. This retrains your pelvic alignment and eases bladder pressure. 4. Side-to-side twists. Cross your arms over your chest. Gently twist your upper body to the right. Hold. Return to center. Now, to the left. Hold. Return. Repeat 8 times each side. This improves core mobility, circulation, and posture, all linked to bladder health. You don't need to spend hours doing this. 10 minutes a day is enough. The secret isn't intensity, it's consistency. Here's what works best. Do these movements in the morning. Your hips are stiffest when you wake up, and loosening them early sets the tone for your whole day. If you forget, tie it to a routine. Do it right after brushing your teeth or making your morning coffee. And here's a bonus. These exercises don't just help your bladder. They make walking easier, they reduce back pain. They even help you balance better, lowering your risk of falls at night. Think about it this way. When you wake up at night, it's not just about getting out of bed. It's about walking in the dark, half asleep, with joints that feel stiff and a body that's off balance. Every step feels risky. But when your hips and core are strong and mobile, your steps are steady. Your balance is sharper. You don't stumble in the dark. And best of all, you don't need to get up as often in the first place. That's freedom. That's peace of mind. I'll tell you something I've noticed. Older adults who start doing hip and core mobility often say the same thing. I feel younger. Not just because of fewer bathroom trips, but because their whole body feels lighter, looser, more capable. And when you feel younger, you act younger. You smile more, you move more, you live more. That's the hidden gift of this routine. So far, you've strengthened your pelvic floor for control. You've opened your hips and core for relief. But there's another piece we need to address: your posture and your breathing. Because the way you stand, sit, and even take a breath can silently increase bladder pressure every single day. That's what we'll tackle in exercise number 3, posture alignment and breathing. And trust me, this one will surprise you. We've strengthened the pelvic floor. We've opened the hips and core. But now comes something most people overlook: your posture and the way you breathe. Because let me tell you a truth that may shock you. Every single time you slouch, every time your shoulders round forward, every time you hold your breath without realizing it, you're adding extra pressure onto your bladder. And that pressure may be the very reason you're waking up at night. Let me share the story of Robert. Robert is 69 years old, a retired accountant. He spent his life hunched over papers, calculators, and later, computer screens. Even after retirement, he kept the same posture: shoulders forward, head tilted down, chest caved in. For years, Robert assumed his nightly bathroom trips were just part of aging. 3, sometimes 4 times a night. He tried cutting back on fluids. He tried limiting coffee. Nothing worked. When he visited a geriatric wellness specialist, the doctor didn't just ask about his bladder. She asked him to stand up. She asked him to breathe. And then she explained, "Robert, Your posture is collapsing your diaphragm, you're not breathing deeply, and that constant downward pressure is squeezing your bladder. At first, he didn't believe it, but he started a simple routine standing tall against a wall, practicing deep belly breathing, opening his chest. 2 months later, he called his doctor and said something he hadn't said in years. I slept through the night. Not because of medicine, not because of surgery, but because of posture and breath. So let's unpack why this works. Your diaphragm, the large muscle under your lungs, controls how you breathe. When you take deep, slow breaths, your diaphragm moves like a piston, gently massaging your organs and keeping pressure balanced. But when you slouch, your diaphragm gets trapped. Your chest collapses, and instead of deep belly breaths, you take short, shallow breaths. Shallow breathing increases abdominal pressure. That pressure sits right on top of your bladder. And here's the surprising part. Poor posture also tightens the muscles around your pelvic floor. So, now you've got pressure coming from above and tension coming from below. The bladder becomes squeezed on both sides. The result? That urgent signal in the middle of the night. But when you correct your posture and breathe deeply, pressure lifts. The bladder feels supported, not squeezed. And suddenly, the urge isn't there. Now, let's clear up some common mistakes. Mistake 1. Overcorrecting. Some people, when told to fix their posture, puff their chest out like a soldier and strain their back. That's not alignment, that's tension. True posture is relaxed, balanced, and sustainable. Mistake 2. Holding the breath during exercise. You might not even notice this, but holding your breath while lifting or bending creates what's called a Valsalva maneuver. That spikes intra-abdominal pressure and stresses the bladder. Breathing should always be slow, natural, and flowing. Mistake 3. Thinking posture is only for the young. I hear this all the time. I'm too old to fix my posture. That is simply not true. I've seen people in their 80 seconds transform how they stand and breathe, and their energy, balance, and bladder control improved right along with it. Let's go step by step. 1. Wall standing alignment. Stand with your back against a wall. Heels about 6 inches away from the wall. Let your shoulders and head gently touch the wall. Now notice, is there a small space between your lower back and the wall? That's natural. Hold this position for 30 seconds, just breathing. Feel how your body resets into alignment. 2. Belly breathing exercise. Place one hand on your chest, one hand on your stomach. Inhale slowly through your nose. Make sure the hand on your stomach rises while the hand on your chest stays still. Exhale gently through your mouth. Repeat this 8-10 times. This retrains your diaphragm and relieves bladder pressure. 3. Seated posture reset. Sit on a chair. Feet flat on the ground. Imagine a string pulling the crown of your head upward. Relax your shoulders. Open your chest. Now take 3 deep breaths here. 4. Gentle shoulder rolls. Lift your shoulders toward your ears. Roll them back, drop them down. Repeat 5 times. This opens your chest and keeps your posture alive during the day. You don't have to spend hours on this. Just 5 minutes, morning and evening, is enough to retrain your body. Here's a tip. Every time you catch yourself slouching, reset. Press your feet into the ground, lengthen your spine. Take 1 deep belly breath. Do this while watching TV, while waiting for the kettle to boil, even while standing in line at the store. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And don't underestimate this. Posture isn't about vanity. It's about bladder control. It's about breathing fully. It's about giving your body space to work the way it was designed. Think about how much of your life is affected by poor sleep. The tired mornings, the grumpy afternoons, the foggy memory. Now, imagine trading that for clarity. Imagine waking up after a full night's rest, standing tall, breathing deeply, feeling strong. This is not about looking young. It's about living well. And it starts with how you hold yourself and how you breathe. I've seen this countless times. People who thought they were just old discover that by changing how they stand and breathe, they feel 10 years younger. It's not magic. It's not complicated. It's simply giving your body what it needs. You are not broken. You just need to realign. So now, we've built strength in the pelvic floor. We've unlocked mobility in the hips and core. We've reset posture and restored breathing. But there's one more key: we can't ignore circulation. Because your bladder is only as healthy as the blood flow that nourishes it. And that's why exercise number 4 is all about gentle cardio activation, the kind that wakes your body up in the morning and calms it at night. We've built strength in your pelvic floor. We've opened your hips and core. We've realigned your posture and breathing. Now it's time to get your blood flowing. Because here's something most people don't realize. Your bladder depends on circulation. If your blood flow slows down, fluid builds in your legs during the day. And when you finally lie down at night, that fluid shifts back into your bloodstream and your kidneys work overtime, filling your bladder while you're trying to sleep. That's why gentle morning cardio is such a game changer. Let me introduce you to James. James is 76, a retired mechanic. Strong hands, years of hard work behind him. But every night, he had the same frustration, waking up 2 or 3 times to use the bathroom. He thought it was just his prostate. He thought it was just age. But when his doctor asked about exercise, James admitted, "I don't move much anymore. I just tinker in the garage." The doctor explained, without regular circulation, fluids were pooling in his legs. That meant every night his kidneys were overloaded. So James began a simple morning routine. Nothing fancy, just marching in place, gentle step taps, a short walk outside, 10 minutes. That was all. Within a few weeks, James noticed the difference. Instead of waking up 3 times a night, it was once. Then not at all. He didn't just improve his bladder, he improved his energy, his balance, his mood, all from gentle cardio. Let's break down why this matters. Your body is designed for movement. When you move, your muscles act like pumps, pushing blood and fluid back toward your heart. When you don't move enough, fluid collects in your legs. That's why ankles swell by evening. But here's the connection. When you finally lie down, gravity shifts. All that fluid returns to circulation. The kidneys filter it and your bladder fills. That's why people who sit a lot during the day often wake up at night to urinate. It's not just the bladder's fault, it's circulation. Now, here's the hopeful part. A study published in the Journal of Urology found that older adults who added just 20 minutes of daily low-intensity cardio reduced nighttime bathroom trips by up to 55%. That's huge. So, the science is clear. Moving your body in the morning sets the stage for a restful night. But let's clear up a few myths. Myth #1: cardio has to be intense. No, you don't need to jog or sweat buckets. In fact, too much intensity can backfire, raising stress hormones and making sleep worse. Gentle, consistent cardio is what helps your bladder. Myth #2: evening exercise helps you sleep. Not always. For many people, late-night cardio actually wakes the body up. The best time to get moving is the morning. That's when circulation is sluggish and your body needs activation. Myth #3: walking alone is enough. Walking is wonderful, but most people walk too slowly or too little. Gentle cardio is intentional. It's about raising your heart rate just slightly, enough to pump circulation. Think marching in place, step taps, or brisk walking with purpose. Now, let's go through a short routine you can follow at home. 1. Marching in place. Stand tall. Lift one knee, then the other, slowly marching in place. Swing your arms gently. Do this for 1-2 minutes, breathing naturally. 2. Step taps. Step your right foot out to the side, tap the floor. Bring it back in. Step your left foot out, tap. Repeat 10 times each side. This improves coordination and balance while boosting circulation. 3. Heel to toe roll. Stand with feet hip-width apart. Rise up onto your toes, hold 1 second. Lower back down and roll onto your heels. Repeat 10 times. This is great for leg circulation and preventing nighttime swelling. 4. Gentle arm swings. Stand relaxed. Swing your arms forward and back like a pendulum. Do this 20 times. This opens your chest and improves blood flow to your upper body. 5. Mini walk. If you can, take a short walk around your home, your yard, or down the hallway. Even 5 minutes makes a difference. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I don't have time in the morning. But here's the truth: you don't need half an hour. You don't even need 15 minutes. You can do this in 5. March while waiting for the kettle to boil. Step tap while brushing your teeth. Do heel-to-toe rolls while standing at the sink. Movement is movement. It all counts. And consistency is what rewires your body. The more you do this in the morning, the less your bladder will wake you at night. Think about what's at stake here. Every night you wake up, you're not just losing sleep. You're risking fatigue, foggy thinking, even falls in the dark. But when you add gentle cardio into your mornings, you take back control. You don't just help your bladder, you strengthen your heart, you sharpen your mind, you lift your mood. It's not about exercise, it's about freedom. I've seen people who thought their best years were behind them suddenly realize, I have energy again. They start walking with friends, playing with grandkids, traveling without fear of fatigue. And it all begins with something as simple as gentle morning cardio. That's the power of small, consistent choices. So now you've strengthened your pelvic floor. You've loosened your hips and core. You've fixed your posture and breathing. You've boosted your circulation. But there's one last piece of the puzzle: stretching. Because stiffness in your lower back and pelvis can quietly choke off nerves and blood flow to the bladder. And that's exactly what we'll unlock in exercise number 5. Lower back and pelvic stretches. You've built strength. You've opened mobility. You've improved posture and circulation. Now we come to the final piece: stretching your lower back and pelvis. Why? Because stiffness in this area quietly strangles your nerves and blood supply. And when those pathways are restricted, your bladder is the first to suffer. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret is 82. A loving grandmother, always smiling, but every night she dreaded bedtime. She knew she'd be up, not once, not twice, but 4 or 5 times to use the bathroom. She tried limiting fluids, she tried medications. Nothing worked. Then during a physical therapy session, her therapist noticed something. Her lower back was as stiff as stone. Years of sitting, years of ignoring flexibility, had locked her pelvis tight. The nerves that controlled her bladder were being pinched. So they started simple stretches. Gentle twists, cat-cow movements, deep breathing. And slowly, her stiffness eased. Her nerves relaxed. And for the first time in years, she slept through the night. Margaret didn't need more pills. She needed freedom in her lower back. Here's the medical truth. Your bladder is controlled by a network of nerves that pass through the lower spine and pelvis. When your muscles and joints in that region are tight, they compress those nerves. That compression can send mixed signals, making your bladder feel urgent when it isn't full. On top of that, tight muscles reduce blood flow, which keeps tissues inflamed and sensitive. But stretching changes everything. A study in the International Journal of Urogynecology followed older adults with bladder urgency. After 12 weeks of daily pelvic and lower back stretches, participants reported up to a 60% reduction in nighttime bathroom trips. That's not chance. That's physiology. Now, let's clear away some dangerous misunderstandings. Mistake #1. Stretching is optional. It's not. Stretching is as important as strength or cardio. Without it, your progress stalls. Mistake #2. Stretching means pushing hard. No. If you force a stretch, your body resists. The key is gentle, slow, and steady. Stretching should feel like relief, not pain. Mistake #3. Holding your breath. This one is sneaky. Many people tense up and stop breathing while stretching. But deep breathing is what relaxes muscles and nerves. Without it, you're missing half the benefit. Now, let me guide you through a few stretches you can do at home. 1. Cat-cow stretch. Sit on a sturdy chair or get on hands and knees. Arch your back gently like a stretching cat. Then drop your belly down and lift your chest like a cow. Breathe deeply. Repeat 8-10 times. This mobilizes your spine and takes pressure off bladder nerves. 2. Seated spinal twist. Sit tall in a chair. Place your right hand on the outside of your left thigh. Gently twist your torso left, keeping shoulders relaxed. Hold 5 slow breaths. Return to center, switch sides. This opens your spine and pelvis, easing nerve compression. 3. Knee to chest stretch. Lie on your back, knees bent. Pull one knee gently toward your chest, holding with both hands. Hold 20-30 seconds, breathing slow. Switch legs. Repeat 3-4 times each side. This relieves lower back tension that presses on pelvic nerves. 4. Pelvic tilt, breathing. Lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat. Flatten your lower back gently against the floor by tucking your pelvis. Hold for 3 breaths, then release. Repeat 10 times. This resets your pelvic alignment, helping bladder control. 5. Forward bend release. Sit on a chair, feet flat. Slowly bend forward, letting your arms hang toward the floor. Relax your head and neck. Take 5 deep breaths here. This is a powerful way to relax the entire spine and pelvis. Now, you don't need to do all of these at once. Start with 1 or 2, just 5 minutes in the morning. The real secret is consistency. Stretching isn't about instant results. It's about teaching your body, day by day, to let go of tension. Do them while waiting for your tea to brew. Do them before your morning walk, or before bed as a way to relax. And remember, always move slowly, breathe deeply, and never force. Think about how different your nights could feel if your lower back and pelvis stopped fighting your bladder. Instead of waking up every 2 hours, you sleep deeply. You wake refreshed. Your mornings feel lighter, your evenings calmer. Stretching isn't just about flexibility, it's about freedom. Freedom from stiffness. Freedom from urgency. Freedom from fear of losing independence. I've seen older adults who thought their bodies were too far gone rediscover energy they hadn't felt in decades. They stand taller, they move easier. They stop dreading bedtime. And the spark returns to their eyes because they realize aging doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean growth if you give your body the right care. So, now you've learned all 5 surgeon-approved morning exercises. Pelvic floor strengtheners for bladder control. Hip and core mobility for balance. Posture alignment and breathing for pressure relief. Gentle cardio for circulation. And pelvic stretches to unlock nerves and calm your bladder. But knowledge alone isn't enough. The real transformation happens when you put these into practice, when you decide your nights, your sleep, your health are worth protecting. And that's exactly what we'll talk about next, as we move into the emotional heart of this journey. Waking up multiple times a night can feel defeating. It's not just about sleep, it's about the toll it takes on your spirit. You lie there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, thinking, is this just how it's going to be from now on? You drag yourself out of bed, half awake, fumbling for the bathroom light. You return to bed, but the rest never feels complete. And in the morning, you feel like you've already run a marathon before the day has even started. I want you to hear me clearly. This is not your fault, and it does not have to be your future. The truth is, what feels overwhelming is often just your body asking for a little care in the right places. Not complicated, not painful, not impossible. With simple, consistent morning habits, you can change your nights. Think about that for a moment. Imagine yourself going to bed and actually staying asleep. Imagine waking up with energy, with clarity, with peace. It's not a dream, it's not too late, and it's not out of your reach. You don't have to do all 5 exercises tomorrow. You don't need an hour. Start with 2, just 2 simple movements. Maybe the pelvic floor strengtheners and the seated spinal twist. Do them tomorrow morning. Do them again the next day. And watch how your body slowly thanks you. Consistency matters more than perfection. Every stretch, every breath, every gentle movement is a message to your body that you are choosing healing instead of resignation. I want you to remember this. Your age does not define your energy. Your age does not define your rest. I have seen men in their 70s, women in their 80s, even a few strong spirits in their 90s, reclaim their nights. They went from restless, sleepless, exhausted to peaceful, vibrant, alive. Not because they reversed time, but because they partnered with their bodies instead of fighting against them. And you can do the same. But let's be honest. If you ignore this, if you chalk it up to just aging, nothing changes. The nights keep getting longer. The mornings keep getting harder. And one day, you might look back and realize you let discomfort steal years of joy you could have had. You don't want that. And you don't deserve that. So, here's what I'm asking. Choose one exercise, just one. Commit to doing it tomorrow, then build from there. This is how you take back control. This is how you write a new story for yourself, one where nights are restful, mornings are brighter, and your body feels like an ally again. And if you'd like more support, if you want a step-by-step routine that goes deeper into better sleep, evening habits, and wellness rituals designed just for older adults, then don't forget to check out the Elderly Spring Sleep and Wellness Kit. It's in the description below. It's simple, it's practical, and it's built to walk you through everything we've talked about today. Think of it as your companion, a guide that makes this journey even easier. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not doomed to restless nights forever. Your body is still capable of change. Your nights are still capable of peace, and your mornings are still capable of joy. Take this seriously, because every step you take today is a gift for tomorrow. And remember, you are never too old to choose health. Never too old to choose rest. Never too old to choose life. The choice is yours, and the time is now. Let's take a breath together and look back at what you've learned today. We started with the foundation pelvic floor strengtheners because strong muscles give your bladder the support it needs. Then we opened your body with hip and core mobility, the movements that improve balance, protect you from falls, and take pressure off the bladder. We moved into posture alignment and breathing, where you discovered how standing tall and breathing deep can instantly reduce the stress pressing down on your organs. Then we energized your mornings with gentle cardio activation, simple movements that wake up circulation, reset kidney function, and set the rhythm for better nights. And finally, we unlocked freedom with lower back and pelvic stretches, releasing nerves, loosening tension, and giving your bladder the calm it needs to stop crying out for attention when you're trying to rest. 5 surgeon-approved exercises. 5 tools for independence. 5 choices that, when practiced with consistency, can change your nights forever. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these exercises do you think you'll start with tomorrow morning? Will it be the pelvic floor lifts you can do right in your bed? Or the simple spinal twist that melts away tension? Maybe the morning walk, which clears your mind and energizes your day. Comment below and share your plan. Not only does writing it down help you stay accountable, but your comment might inspire someone else in this community to take their first step, too. And if you found this video helpful, if even one idea here gave you hope, then please subscribe to Elderly Spring. This isn't just about videos. This is about building a space where seniors, caregivers, and families come together to share knowledge that protects health, dignity, and independence. When you subscribe, you're not just supporting me, you're joining a movement. A movement of people who refuse to accept that aging means decline. Now, let me be blunt. If you walk away without subscribing, the next time you wake up at 2 a.m., exhausted and frustrated, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember that you had the chance to change things. And you'll remember that you chose not to. If that's your decision, then I ask you go down to the comments and tell us why. Tell us why you'd rather keep suffering than press one free button that could surround you with knowledge, tools, and a supportive community ready to lift you up. But if you are serious about your health, about your sleep, and about living your best years with strength and confidence, then click subscribe right now. Don't hesitate, don't put it off, do it. And to those of you who've stayed until the end, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your courage to learn. And thank you for caring enough about your future to be here today. Remember, your nights don't have to be restless. Your mornings don't have to be heavy. You have the tools, you have the choice, and you have a community here waiting to walk this journey with you. So, until next time, stay active, stay hopeful, and stay connected. I'll see you in the next video.